she merely pitied those bugs, victim to the whims of higher powers. But through a grand journey of wishes granted, Hornet learns to truly value these lesser lives. Given the choice to continue their subjugation as the Weaver Queen, or abandon Farloom upon her own freedom being granted, instead, she fights for the well-being of these simple people, out of no ulterior motive but genuine compassion. So you'd think the Red Memory would be the climax of her compassion arc. She once bent the knee to Hallownest's monarchy, and now has the chance to stand up to their cruelty. But instead of admonishing the White Lady for her part in infanticide, Hornet merely states she understands the motives for her mother's cruelty and doesn't take it personally. This makes the narrative significance of the Red Memory not too easy to parse. What does this interaction achieve? Is it merely to clarify her views on her parents? Or can we glean something deeper towards her growth as a character?
Alas, Spider's child, for our ways you will think us harsh. You will think us uncaring, unrepentant.
This sentence is in relation to the wish of Hornet's three mothers. It's important to establish that, as you might think the Pale King's included here. Further evidence is the use of a feminine us in the French, Spanish, and Portuguese translations. So sadly, the Pale King is in fact not one of the girlies, which, a bit off topic, but I must add, implies her father's wish differed greatly from her mother's, assuming he made one in the first place. Thematically, uncaring, harsh, and unrepentant refer to the cruelties Hornet's three mothers employed. Hera is uncaring for abandoning her daughter to become a dreamer. Vespa is harsh for how she trained Hornet to survive. The White Lady is unrepentant for her part in saving Hallownest from the infection, i.e. infanticide. But taking the entire line verbatim, the White Lady believes Hornet would view all her mothers in these ways, especially the unrepentant part, as all three knew of the vessels and their creation.
And so we must seem, for such is the cost of our wish.
By her dialogue here and in Hollowknight, the White Lady does hold remorse for her past cruelties. And yet, this stepmother is willing to be viewed as heartless by her own daughter to see said wish fulfilled. It's of note that Hornet is kneeling before the White Lady as all this is said. Everything with Hornet in a white garb seems to be from a memory, so is not her present consciousness in action. By her demeanor and attire, Hornet was subservient to the will of her pale family to maintain the stasis of Hallownest. Before her first defeat to the Knight, she actively perpetuated it, claiming the kingdom a corpse that cannot be revived. Essentially, Hornet actively prevented the passing of this age, fearing a worse fate for these lands should the next vessel falter.
You are wrong, lady.
Hornet's cloak changes to red, and she stands up to the White Lady, both figuratively and literally. At this point, Memory Hornet has been replaced with present-day Hornet.
I knew the wish and the price to achieve it. And now, across these many ages, I have only come to know it better.
Hornet states that, at the point in time she wore the white garb, she did understand the White Lady's wish. That's why she said,
You are wrong, lady.
As the White Lady misjudged how Hornet would react to her heavy upbringing. The White Lady's initial goal with infanticide was to save Hallownest. Hornet most likely wasn't in the picture around then. But the Red Memory proves her perspective later shifted to include her stepdaughter's well-being. For the wish to be realized, training would be necessary, but most especially, time. If the kingdom fell to the infection, she wouldn't have the opportunity for growth in the first place. So though an incidental price, Hornet does not resent that infanticide was required for her to gain said wish. However, it is implied back then, Hornet never stood up to the White Lady like she does now. This is the most critical part towards understanding the Red Memory's significance. If Hornet knew the wish way back then, what makes verbalizing it now so impactful?
Strength. In mind, in care, in claw. Strength enough that I may live to see a world better than our own, or to craft a world as I desire. That was the wish of my mother, of my mentor, and of you.
Finding freedom is the defining theme amongst Hollow Knight's protagonists, and in a sense, strength can be seen as the key to freedom, both for Hornet and those around her. This is what the three mothers wished for their daughter, for her to find her own path, her own world, and with that wish, Hornet selflessly chose to make one that is free. Remember, this is not a grand revelation she suddenly realized at this moment. However, from white garb to red cloak, much time was required for Hornet to simplify such complex thoughts.
Indeed, Spider. So much pain you must have passed to speak our hope so simply.
At this point, Memory White Lady has acquired lucidity as a result of present-day Hornet's resolve. I wouldn't label it a phone call with the real White Lady back in Hallownest, more like how dream spirits are genuine imitations of their once-living counterpart. This is simply a very genuine imprint of memory, responding back to Hornet.
For her you become, who knows clear our desire, and has seen full the darkness beneath our house. I would show you the gift.
The use of "for her you become" is important, as the bug Hornet was in white garb differs from the one in red. Hornet knew her mothers gifted her a unique strength. With it, she could craft a world as she desired, yet stood to watch Hallownest crumble in stasis. Whether or not she could logistically fix the kingdom on her own, the point stands, she actively resisted its saving. Hope was required to move forward, for Hornet to put her trust in another, for her to finally let go of her mother. Without hope, she risked Hallownest's doom, and stayed destined to reign as Farloom's Weaver Queen. She's always had the wish in her possession, but only recently has she learned to fully utilize it, something the White Lady sees clearly.
Reach forth, child grown strong. Wrest it from this remembrance. Burn yourself free from our sad fate.
Again, while Hornet always understood the wish, she wasn't confident enough to state her thoughts at that moment. Once, she limited herself to the wills of pale beings, destined to repeat their mistakes. The complete opposite of the wish. But now, to step out from under her mother's shadows, to stand on equal footing to her once superior, it's made clear Hornet's path is now her own, burning herself free from her mother's sad fates. At the beginning of this video, I thought, because of Hornet's compassion arc, this conversation is her admonishing the White Lady, but now I realize that interpretation is quite redundant. She clearly understands her stepmother is repentant of those ill deeds. To berate her for them now would be pointless. What the Red Memory actually achieves is proof of Hornet's resolve. She's always understood her mother's wish for her, and she always had that strength in her possession. But knowing the wish is not the same as knowing how to utilize it. She once stood idle to Hallownest's fall, actively preventing its regrowth, simply because she lacked the hope of a better future. It was the events of Hollowknight that sparked the wish's potential, and through Silksong, it was cemented in her soul. Hornet discovered she need not be bound to a dead kingdom, having always been capable of building something more. And by that gifted strength, she can remove herself from the whims of pale beings and the shadow of her mothers. She can walk a better path. The red memory is not a sudden spur of resolve, but a confirmation of its existence. The accumulation of all she's learned from both Hallownest and Farloom alike, presented clearly in but a single breath. And for that, she is rewarded. Her hope given form. The Everbloom. Though I must note, Hornet's path still requires sacrifice. It's a key theme in both games. The knight must destroy the 3 dreamers to pass Hallownest into its new age. So must Hornet, with Farloom's 3 hearts. Discounting Embrace the Void, not needing dreamers, and that she could just kill a 4th heart for, I'll be honest, kind of weak reasoning. But still, to see the future forward, Hornet must have the strength to see those cruel sacrifices through. And thankfully, by moving forward, so will time. The land will soon be reseeded. Its bugs will adapt. Its wounds will heal. However, Hornet knows well not to sacrifice for stasis, as she's seen firsthand why. With time frozen, the grief it cost will never fade away.